Imagine this. During the Super Bowl broadcast, a striking ad appeared on the TV screen, a young woman holding a mobile phone, excitedly clicking on a shopping app with cheerful and playful background music. A slogan flashed on the screen, "Shop like a billionaire." She filled a shopping cart with less than a few dozen dollars and smiled in disbelief. This ad was played several times during the 2023 Super Bowl, arousing the curiosity of audiences across the United States. What kind of magical shopping app is this that allows ordinary people to shop like billionaires? The answer is Temu, an e-commerce platform from China that has swept the US market in a short period of time. Before Temu appeared, American consumers had long been accustomed to the dominance of Amazon and the super cheap online shopping craze such as Shein that emerged during the epidemic. But Temu's sudden appearance is still surprising. This website with an unfamiliar name actually became the most downloaded shopping app in the United States at the end of 2022, surpassing old powerhouses such as Amazon and Walmart. Temu's slogan hits the heart directly. Who doesn't want to live the addiction of rich people to buy things without blinking an eye with a civilian budget? Against the backdrop of high inflation and shrinking wallets, Temu's main ultra-low prices are like a timely rain, bringing new hope to cost-conscious consumers. This video will explore all aspects of Temu in a single-person narrative. From its development background, business model, and market strategy, to its head-on confrontation with competitors such as Amazon and Shein, to consumers' actual shopping experience and evaluation, we will analyze the secrets behind Temu's rise from all aspects. At the same time, we will not avoid the supply chain challenges, controversies, and problems faced by Temu, including data security concerns, product quality issues, and other focuses of external attention. Finally, we will look forward to the future of Temu to see whether this e-commerce dark horse can continue to advance triumphantly or adjust and transform in the face of challenges. Are you ready? Let us embark on this Temu exploration journey full of knowledge, resonance, and humor. Development background. To understand the story of Temu, we must first talk about its background. Temu is not a wild e-commerce platform that emerged out of thin air. Behind it stands the Chinese e-commerce giant Pinduoduo. Pinduoduo is famous for its super low-price group buying and social shopping in China. It is a new upstart that has risen rapidly after Alibaba and JD.com. Pinduoduo is good at attracting consumers with cheap goods and small games, and has accumulated a large user base in third-tier and lower cities in China. But when the domestic market became saturated, this keen-sighted company turned its attention to overseas markets, hoping to replicate its successful model globally, and Temu was born. Temu is operated by PDD Holdings, the parent company of Pinduoduo. Interestingly, in order to go global, PDD Holdings registered its headquarters in the Cayman Islands and set up its main office in Dublin, Ireland. It also registered subsidiaries named Walico, Inc. in Delaware and Massachusetts, USA to operate Temu. In short, Temu can be seen as the overseas version of Pinduoduo created by Pinduoduo, with the goal of conquering global consumers including the United States with the advantages of China's supply chain. Temu was first launched in the United States in September 2022. At that time, many Americans knew nothing about this name, but Temu seized a great opportunity. The post-epidemic e-commerce boom is still continuing, and American consumers are more eager for high-quality and low-priced goods under inflationary pressure. After Temu went online, it took an aggressive market offensive, and it soared on the download list of the App Store in less than a few months. By the end of 2022, Temu has become the most downloaded shopping app in the United States, even surpassing Amazon and Walmart, which have been sitting firmly for many years. You know, Amazon is a giant with tens of millions of American users. The fact that the new Temu can catch up in terms of downloads shows how strong its publicity is and how attractive its products are. After achieving initial success in the United States, Temu quickly launched global expansion. In early 2023, Temu landed in the Canadian market, then entered Australia and New Zealand in March, and expanded to many European countries in April, including France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Spain, the United Kingdom, etc. By mid-2023, TEMU had been launched in nearly 30 countries including Europe, North America, and Oceania. What is astonishing is that TEMU's pace of entering overseas markets is almost unprecedented. It took TEMU less than a year to go from zero to covering more than 40 countries. Whether in developed markets in Europe and the United States, or in emerging markets such as Southeast Asia, Japan, and South Korea, TEMU can be seen racing to grab land. This speed of expansion reminds people of TikTok back then, also created by a Chinese company, which became popular overnight around the world. In the development background of TEMU, there is another factor that cannot be ignored: the competitive environment. Before the emergence of TEMU, there were already Chinese cross-border e-commerce platforms for overseas markets, such as AliExpress and Shein, which focuses on fashion. Shein, in particular, has set off a frenzy in the European and American markets with its ultra-low-priced fast fashion clothing. Pinduoduo has obviously noticed this trend and believes that its supply chain can not only sell clothes, but also sell various small commodities to make money overseas. Moreover, unlike AliExpress and other platforms that focus on platform self-operation or traditional seller models, TEMU takes the route of directly from Chinese factories to consumers and uses the power of the platform to help Chinese manufacturers sell directly to the world. It can be said that behind the birth of TEMU is Pinduoduo's confidence in its own business model and a bold bet on the online shopping trend of global consumers. In short, TEMU has been leaning on a big tree, Pinduoduo, from the beginning and has ambitious goals. In a short period of time, it has completed the layout from the first launch in the United States to the global development, with great momentum and attracted attention from all parties. After understanding these backgrounds, let's take a look at how TEMU itself operates, that is, what kind of business model it uses to conquer overseas. Business model. The reason why TEMU can attract consumers with incredibly low prices is due to its unique business model. Simply put, TEMU acts as a bridge connecting Chinese manufacturers and global consumers, allowing Chinese sellers to sell directly to overseas buyers without going through local wholesalers and retailers. This model reduces the layers of markups in the middle, significantly reducing the price of goods. On the TEMU platform, you can buy a wide variety of goods from clothes, shoes, and hats to electronic gadgets, household items, and even some funny gadgets, and the prices are often only a fraction of those in local American stores. It can be said that TEMU has taken small profits but quick turnover to the extreme. Each item has a small profit, but it wins in terms of a large sales base and a wide range of categories. Price is the core of TEMU's business model. In order to ensure the lowest price on the entire network, TEMU has taken a series of almost paranoid measures. The platform requires Chinese merchants to offer goods at a lower price than on other platforms, such as Alibaba's AliExpress. If multiple sellers sell the same product, TEMU only allows the one with the lowest price to be listed, and the other high-priced sellers will be excluded. In addition, if a product does not sell 30 pieces within 14 days after it goes online, or the sales volume is less than $90, it may be removed from the platform. TEMU only favors those products with the potential to be explosive. This strict screening mechanism ensures that consumers always see the most cost-effective options, and on the other hand, it also puts merchants into a fierce price competition. Some sellers admit that TEMU even requires them to lower prices to almost no profit or even loss, just to attract customers with low prices. This sounds a bit crazy, but the logic behind it is very clear. First, use cabbage prices to quickly acquire users and traffic, and then find ways to make profits from economies of scale in the future. Of course, such a low price is inseparable from TEMU's huge investment in subsidies and operations. TEMU often launches various promotional activities, such as coupons for new registrations and a reward mechanism for free products by inviting friends. If you use TEMU for the first time, you will often see tempting activities such as get products for 0 yuan or invite 3 friends and get XX. In fact, this is TEMU's reference to Pinduoduo's social fishing gameplay in China. Users can play small games built into the application, such as raising fish ponds, growing vegetables, etc., complete tasks, or invite friends to help in exchange for prizes. This gamification and social communication strategy has greatly improved user stickiness and spontaneous communication. In order to get free gifts, many users do not hesitate to mobilize their relatives and friends to download TEMU to help them cut a knife. From the effect, TEMU has indeed spread virally on social media with this strategy. For a time, everyone was discussing how to get free gifts on TEMU. In addition to online gameplay, TEMU also has innovations in its fulfillment model. As we all know, direct shipments from China to the United States take a long time and are costly. To solve this problem, TEMU has adopted a model of centralized transportation plus local distribution. First, merchants send goods to TEMU's domestic distribution warehouses, which are uniformly inspected and packaged by TEMU, and then shipped overseas by air or sea in batches. In destination countries such as the United States, TEMU has established some micro-fulfillment centers similar to family warehouses. Some of these warehouses are directly operated by overseas Chinese in their own garages. When a large number of goods arrive in the United States, they will be distributed to these scattered family warehouses, and then the local express delivery, such as USPS, will complete the final delivery. In this way, TEMU avoids the high cost of setting up large overseas warehouses and is faster than sending each item directly from China. It is reported that ordinary consumers can generally receive the package within 7 to 15 working days after placing an order on TEMU. If the estimated delivery date is exceeded, TEMU will even take the initiative to give customers a small amount of compensation, such as issuing a $5 coupon to appease them. This commitment to logistics timeliness is also intended to minimize user loss due to waiting too long. It should be pointed out that TEMU dares to spend money on subsidies and lower commodity prices, largely because it has the support of a well-funded parent company. Pinduoduo has made a lot of money in the domestic market, and TEMU can be seen as a strategic investment, which is willing to make short-term losses in exchange for long-term overseas market share. This approach is not new in the internet industry. Think about Uber and Netflix, which also expanded at a long-term loss in the early days. TEMU hopes that once it becomes an indispensable shopping app for overseas consumers, there will naturally be ways to realize profits in the future, such as charging sellers commissions, selling advertising space, or reducing costs by improving supply chain efficiency through refined operations. However, TEMU's business model is not without cost. In the pursuit of extremely low prices, upstream Chinese merchants are under tremendous pressure. According to media reports, hundreds of small and medium-sized manufacturers supplying TEMU were fined by the platform for various after-sales issues in 2024, with a total amount of more than 100 million yuan. Many merchants complained that TEMU's policies were harsh. Once consumers complained or returned the goods, the losses were often borne by the sellers, and they might even be fined a huge amount, and their profits would be instantly wiped out. Many merchants had no choice but to run to TEMU's office in China to protest with banners. This scene shows that TEMU is getting a bargain for consumers at the front end, but is squeezing suppliers to bear the costs at the back end. Whether this thirst-quenching model of drinking poison can continue is also a question for TEMU from the outside world. In summary, TEMU's business model is platform-driven, integrating China's massive supply of low-priced goods to directly serve global consumers. It quickly opened the door to overseas markets with its low-price strategy, plus social fission, plus innovative logistics. Of course, this model has brought about amazing growth while also laying hidden worries. Next, let's take a look at what marketing strategies TEMU has adopted in marketing and how to make itself stand out in a highly competitive environment. Marketing strategy. With a good business model, TEMU still needs to sell itself to win the favor of consumers. It turns out that TEMU's marketing moves are equally bold and high-profile. Large-scale advertising is the most eye-catching part of TEMU's strategy. The Super Bowl ad mentioned in the introduction is a classic example of TEMU's heavy investment to promote brand awareness. In February 2023, TEMU appeared in the US Super Bowl ad space for the first time. A 30-second ad showed the attractive scene of shopping like a billionaire. Accompanied by brainwashing music and magical slogans, the ad was broadcast continuously during the world's most watched sporting events, sparking the curiosity of countless viewers. Many Americans immediately took out their phones to search for "What is Temu?" after watching the ad, causing Temu's app downloads to surge on the day the ad was broadcast. According to statistics, Temu's downloads soared several times after the Super Bowl ad, topping the App Store and Google Play free charts. Temu tasted the sweetness and increased its investment in the 2024 Super Bowl, even repeatedly playing the ad up to 5 times during the game, as if it was afraid that the audience would not remember it. At the same time, Temu also used more direct bait in its advertisements, such as claiming to give away prizes totaling $15 million and guiding people to download the app to participate in the draw. This practice of showing off its presence in top events is quite rare in the e-commerce industry, highlighting Temu's determination to seize the market at all costs. In addition to TV screens, Temu is also pervasive in the field of online advertising on the internet. If you have used social media such as Facebook and Instagram, or watched YouTube videos in 2023, you may have seen Temu's advertisements. The bright orange Temu logo, huge discount numbers, and words such as "limited time special offer" and "free shipping for the entire store" appear frequently. Temu also cooperates with many internet celebrities and content creators to conduct word-of-mouth marketing through reviews, unboxing videos, and Temu haul purchase sharing. On platforms such as TikTok, many users post the cheap things they found on Temu. Some are shared spontaneously, and many are sponsored by Temu promotion. In short, on social networks, Temu has successfully created an atmosphere of everyone picking up bargains, as if you would miss something if you didn't go to Temu for a stroll. Temu's marketing strategy also includes carefully designed brand image and user experience. It chose a concise and easy-to-remember name, pronounced like Temu. Some Chinese users jokingly call it Tianmo, and adopted a visual design with orange as the main color, which gives people vitality and affinity. The slogan, "Shop like a billionaire," cleverly conveys the value proposition of spending little money to do big things, which is very attractive to ordinary consumers who are careful about budgeting. In addition, Temu's application interface is full of fun. The homepage often pushes various flash sales, lucky draw turntables, and other activities, making the shopping process as fresh as visiting an amusement park. When shopping is packaged as a game, consumer participation and loyalty are unconsciously improved. It is worth mentioning that Temu does not shy away from taking advantage of the situation in its promotion, and sometimes even steps on the red line of competitors. It is rumored that Temu used fake accounts on social media to impersonate Shein officials, guide users to download the Temu app, and instigate internet celebrities to publish content that belittles Shein and instead praises Temu. These radical measures angered competitor Shein, which directly filed a lawsuit against Temu. We will talk about the legal disputes between the two in detail later. Although such methods are controversial, they indirectly show that Temu will do everything it can to grab market share. As long as it can attract users, it dares to venture into the gray area. However, for ordinary consumers, the open and secret struggles between merchants are not their focus. What they see is Temu's overwhelming publicity and real discounts on various occasions. In general, Temu's marketing strategy can be summarized in 4 words: spend money to attract fans. Through large-scale advertising investment, social media topic hype, creative activities, and hunger marketing, Temu has become a household name in a very short time. Many Americans may not have bought anything on Temu, but they have definitely heard of it, or at least seen the slogan, "Shop like a billionaire." This high visibility lays the foundation for converting onlookers into actual users. Next, we will explore how Temu competes with 2 major rivals, Amazon and Shein, in the e-commerce market surrounded by strong competitors. Competitive analysis. In the global e-commerce arena, Temu faces tougher opponents than the others. Among them, there is the huge Amazon and Shein, which is also from China and has become popular overseas in recent years. How does Temu compete with them? Let's take a look at them one by one. The battle with Amazon. First, there is Amazon, the e-commerce giant. Amazon is to American consumers what Taobao or JD.com is to Chinese consumers, and is the preferred platform for daily online shopping. The competition between Temu and Amazon can be said to be a showdown between price and speed, and between innovation and trust. On the one hand, the prices of Temu's products are generally much lower than similar products on Amazon. For example, a mobile phone case on Amazon sells for $10, while a similar model on Temu may only cost $3. This price difference is very tempting for savvy consumers. But on the other hand, Amazon, with its mature logistics network, provides a delivery speed and service experience that Temu cannot match for the time being. Amazon Prime members can enjoy 2-day delivery, even same-day delivery, and convenient worry-free returns. On Temu, it usually takes 1 to 2 weeks to receive the goods after placing an order, and the return and exchange process is relatively cumbersome. This forms a sharp contrast. Amazon sells convenience and peace of mind, while Temu sells cheapness and surprises. In terms of product richness, Amazon, as a full-category e-commerce company, has millions of SKUs, including both international brands and various products from third-party sellers. Although Temu has a wide range of categories, it is currently mainly concentrated on small commodities and clothing accessories at medium and low prices, with relatively few branded and high-value products. Therefore, for consumers who pursue quality and brands, Amazon is still a more reliable choice, while Temu attracts more price-sensitive and new-to-the-fun user groups. It is worth noting that the competition between Temu and Amazon is not static, and both sides are learning from each other's strengths. For example, Temu realized that logistics timeliness is its shortcoming, so at the end of 2023, it began to try to establish local warehouses and distribution centers in the United States, hoping to shorten delivery time and improve customer satisfaction. According to reports, Temu even plans to introduce larger volume goods for sale after having overseas warehouses. Previously, due to restrictions on cross-border direct mail, there were few large items on Temu. This means that in the future, we may see large volume goods delivery services similar to Amazon's next-day delivery services on Temu. In turn, Amazon has also noticed the threat of Temu in ultra-low-priced goods and has begun to encourage more Chinese sellers to ship directly to overseas consumers through the Amazon platform, without having to pass all goods through Amazon's own warehouses, that is, providing more overseas direct mail options. This is seen as Amazon's response to the Temu model. Since Temu can accept slower cross-border logistics in exchange for low prices, Amazon can also provide similar options to retain price-sensitive users. It can be seen that Temu and Amazon are showing a "you have me, I have you" situation. Temu is working hard to improve logistics and services, while Amazon has to some extent lowered its profile to compete on price. Of course, in terms of scale and reputation, Temu is far from being comparable to Amazon. Amazon has hundreds of millions of active users worldwide, and its perfect buyer protection and reputation allow consumers to buy with confidence. Temu has just started, and although the number of users is growing rapidly, it still needs time to cultivate trust. However, if one day when people think of online shopping, they can naturally think of going to Temu to see if there is a cheaper price, as they think of Amazon, that will be the moment to truly shake Amazon's position. At present, Temu is still struggling to catch up on this road. Comparison with Shein. Another major rival, Shein, can be said to be a close relative of Temu. As a cross-border e-commerce platform with Chinese background, Shein focuses on the fast fashion field and has become popular among young people in Europe and the United States with its cheap, trendy clothing. In comparison, Temu's product line is more diverse, covering all aspects of food, clothing, housing, and transportation, and clothing is just one of the categories. So what is the focus of competition between Temu and Shein? First of all, there are differences in positioning and categories. Shein started out as a clothing company with its own design and supply chain. It claims to be able to launch new products based on trends in just 1 or 2 weeks, and can be called the TikTok of the clothing industry. It launches hundreds of new clothes on its website and app every day, which makes young girls who pursue freshness overwhelmed. Temu is not involved in product design and development. It is more like a hodgepodge market, moving ready-made products from manufacturers in various industries to the platform for sale. Therefore, in terms of trendy style selection, Shane may be better if it is purely about clothes, because it is tailor-made for fashion consumers who love beauty. Although Temu also sells clothes, the styles are mostly basic or popular, and the update is not as fast as Shane. However, Temu wins in full category operations. In addition to clothing, there are also a large number of electronic products, small appliances, decorations, toys, etc. If a consumer not only wants to buy clothes, but also wants to buy some other gadgets, Temu can satisfy them in one stop, while Shane is relatively limited to the field of dressing, although it has also expanded some beauty and home product lines, but the scale and richness are far less than Temu. The second is price and quality. Both are low-priced, with a dress costing about $10 and a phone case costing $3 or $4, which was unimaginably cheap in the past. Which one is cheaper depends on the specific product category. In general, Temu covers a wider range of categories, and many products are extremely cheap, for example, electronic gadgets costing a few dollars, which Shane may not have at all. And Shane also has a large number of items costing a few dollars in the clothing field. Judging from consumer reviews, the quality of both companies is lucky. Sometimes you will be pleasantly surprised to find that the workmanship is good and the price is great, and sometimes you will step on thunder and buy cheap goods with rough texture. However, Shane focuses on clothing and has a relatively better control over size and style, while the quality of clothing provided by different sellers on Temu varies, and you need to carefully read the reviews to identify them. The third is logistics and service. Shane's delivery model is similar to Temu's, both of which ship goods from Chinese warehouses to overseas. However, Shane has established some overseas warehouses in some major markets, such as the United States and Europe, and popular products can be shipped locally, which has improved the delivery speed. Therefore, many Shane orders can now be delivered within 1 to 2 weeks, which is comparable to Temu. Temu is also catching up and trying to build overseas warehouses, so the gap between the two in logistics is narrowing. In terms of service, because Shane focuses on clothing, it has certain customer service experience for returns and exchanges of inappropriate sizes. Temu, as a hodgepodge platform, also provides customer service support, but it may face more challenges in handling after-sales of complex categories, such as how to return and exchange electronic products if there is a problem. Overall, the consumer service levels of both are improving, but Temu needs to cover a wider range of categories, which is more difficult. Finally, we have to mention the direct competition between the two companies, which has become fierce. Shane has obviously regarded Temu as a thorn in its side. As early as the end of 2022, Shane sued Temu in the United States for unfair marketing methods. In 2023, Temu countersued Shane for abusing its market position to exclude competition. The two sides went back and forth, and even things like product image infringement were brought to court, which shows how fierce the competition is. It can be said that the competition between Temu and Shane is not only a commercial competition, but has even risen to the level of a struggle for legal and supply chain control. This also confirms the speed of Temu's rise from one aspect. The fact that the industry leader can be so nervous shows that Temu has indeed taken a lot of the cake. In general, Temu and Shane are similar but different in many aspects. Both of them win with the model of made in China plus cross-border e-commerce plus ultra-low price, and both are deeply loved by young consumers. But one is a grocery store, and the other is a clothing store. One casts a wide net and the other cultivates intensively. In the future, the boundaries between the two companies may become more and more blurred. Shane will expand more product categories, and Temu will attract more fashion merchants to settle in, and their competition will only become more intense. For consumers, this kind of competition is a good thing. It means more choices and lower prices. Of course, while enjoying the dividends, we also need to pay attention to some problems and challenges brought by such platforms, which is what we will discuss in the next part. Consumer experience. Having said so much about the business side of things, what is it like for ordinary consumers to shop on Temu? Let's go through the shopping process of Temu from the perspective of a typical user and take a look at what everyone thinks of it. Download and browse. Let's say you half-heartedly downloaded Temu's app after being recommended by a friend. When you open the app, you are greeted by colorful product images and tempting discount labels. Registering an account often gives you a new member gift package, making you feel that you will miss the free discount if you don't buy something. At first, you may just browse casually with the mentality of seeing if there are any bargains, but before you know it, you become more and more addicted. Temu's interface uses a waterfall flow design, and new products are constantly loaded as you scroll down, like an endless department store shelf. You see a pair of fashionable sunglasses for only $4, a set of kitchen gadgets for $5, and even a mobile phone case for only $1.50, and you think that even if the quality is average, the price is almost free. So you keep adding things to the shopping cart, silently looking forward to triggering the threshold of free shipping for full discounts. Order and wait. When you finally finish your selection and place an order with excitement, you will find that Temu usually provides free delivery. It may require a minimum purchase amount, but the threshold is very low, and sometimes there is no threshold for free delivery during the event. In terms of payment, mainstream credit cards and debit cards are supported, and PayPal and other methods can also be used in some areas. The whole process is not much different from shopping on other e-commerce platforms. After the payment is completed, you will receive a notification of order confirmation and estimated delivery time. Usually the estimated delivery may be around 10 days or even longer. You mutter in your heart, "Why do I have to wait so long?" But thinking about the money you save, you will be relieved. Anyway, just wait slowly. The next step is a long waiting process. During this period, Temu's app may send you notifications every now and then, such as pushing new flash sales or telling you, invite friends to get a $20 red envelope, as if afraid that you will forget it. If you click on the order tracking page, you will see merchant in stock and sent to domestic warehouse at first, and then stay in the cross-border transportation stage for several days, which makes people itchy. If you are a little impatient like many consumers, you may check the logistics status once a day. Receiving and unpacking. Finally, one day the courier knocks on the door, or you find a package in your mailbox, usually an orange plastic package with the Temu logo printed on it. You open the package, which may be filled with small items individually wrapped in transparent plastic bags. This moment is a bit like opening a gift, with surprises and a little disappointment. The surprise is, "Wow, I really bought so many things with such a small amount of money." You take out each item to check. The $4 sunglasses are quite stylish when worn, and the quality is acceptable. The $1.50 mobile phone case has a strong plastic feel, but the pattern is beautiful and worth the price. The kitchen gadgets look a bit thin, but they are okay for the time being. Overall, you feel that you get value for money, at least within the expected range, and there is no serious failure. But there may be individual products that make you frown, such as a cheap t-shirt with rough material and wrong size. At this time, you mutter in your heart, "You get what you pay for." After sales and feedback. If you are really dissatisfied with a product, you may try to contact Temu customer service to apply for a return or refund. There is online customer service in the Temu app, and you will usually receive a reply instructing you on how to return the product after submitting your question. Surprisingly, sometimes Temu simply refunds low-priced products directly, and you don't even have to send the product back after all. The postage may be more expensive than the product itself, so the platform simply recognizes the loss. This is a relief for consumers, but Temu may still request a return for high-priced or large products. In terms of refund processing, Temu is quite efficient, and many users have reported that the money was returned to their accounts within a few days. Of course, some users also complain that customer service is difficult to contact or slow to handle, and the experience varies from person to person. After shopping, you may leave comments on the products on Temu. Temu encourages posting orders and comments for other buyers to refer to. However, since many products are unbranded white-label goods, even if someone comments that they are not bad, it is difficult to say whether the quality of the next batch of goods will be consistent. This uncertainty is also part of shopping on Temu. It is full of gambling elements. User reputation. Overall, Temu's user reputation is polarized. People who like it feel that they have found a treasure and proudly boast that, "I spent 20 yuan on Temu to buy a lot of things, super value." On social media, many people share Temu unboxing videos, showing those cheap and interesting products, and the comments are all "send me the link. It's too cost-effective." However, dissatisfied people also ruthlessly complain about Temu's various pitfalls. Some people complain that they waited for more than a month to receive the goods after placing an order. Some people angrily said that the things they got were seriously inconsistent with the description. And some people said that the electronic products they received were not usable at all, and contacting after-sales service was in vain. In addition, Temu's frequent sending of promotional text messages and emails also annoyed some users, and even triggered a class action lawsuit against spam text messages in the United States. Overall, Temu's scores on some consumer complaint platforms are not high. Satisfied consumers may not go online to praise, but dissatisfied people will definitely speak out. Objectively speaking, the consumer experience of Temu is similar to that of Wish, AliExpress, and other cross-border shopping platforms in the early years, full of surprises but also accompanied by the uncertainty of disappointment. For consumers with sufficient patience and low psychological expectations, Temu is like a paradise for online bargain hunting, and the process itself is exciting and interesting. But for those who are accustomed to Amazon's next-day delivery and stable quality, the experience of Temu may drive them crazy. Many people will regard Temu as a platform for buying small gadgets and non-essential items, and will not buy too expensive or important things on it. This is also a rational balance. Use Temu to satisfy the impulse of spending a little money to buy fun, and leave major purchases to more stable platforms. In short, Temu's user experience depends largely on the mentality and expectations of consumers. If you go shopping with the entertainment mentality of finding bargains, you may gain satisfaction and happiness. If you have high expectations for each product, you will inevitably be disappointed. But in any case, Temu does strive to reduce friction in the shopping process, such as providing various discounts and a certain degree of worry-free refunds, so that users are willing to come back repeatedly to shop again. This also explains why statistics show that the user stickiness of Temu app is quite high, and the average weekly usage time even exceeds that of Amazon. Supply chain analysis. The reason why Temu can continuously deliver Chinese-made goods to overseas consumers is that it has a global supply chain. In this chain, logistics and production supply are two key links. Let's look at them separately. Logistics network. Temu's logistics adopts a typical cross-border e-commerce model, but it has been optimized in details to minimize costs while maintaining a relatively acceptable time efficiency. In the domestic link, Temu cooperates with a number of logistics partners, reportedly including express delivery companies such as SF Express and Jiddu, and collects goods from merchants from all over the country to Temu's domestic warehouses through centralized collection. These warehouses can be understood as large-scale collection centers, responsible for packaging and integrating ordered goods. Temu will combine and pack goods from different sellers in an order in China, and then send them abroad in a unified manner. This collection method greatly saves logistics costs and time. After completing the collection, Temu sends a large number of parcels to the destination country by air or sea. In the United States, Temu usually ships by air to ports such as Los Angeles, and then clears customs to enter the local express delivery network. Since the U.S. Customs has a tax-free fast channel for low-value parcels, that is, the de minimis rule, a single parcel valued at less than US $800 is exempt from tariffs and complicated procedures. Most of Temu's parcels enjoy this convenience and rapid release. This is also a magic weapon for Temu to control costs. Thousands of small parcels enter the country in a scattered manner, eliminating tariffs and cumbersome customs declarations. After entering the destination country, Temu's parcels are delivered by local logistics. In the United States, it is common for USPS, United States Postal Service, or UPS to be responsible for delivery, combined with some home warehouses or local sorting points set up by Temu so that the parcels can be delivered nearby. The home warehouse mentioned above plays a role here. These micro-warehouses scattered around the country reserve some hot-selling products in advance or receive large quantities of parcels for regional distribution, which is equivalent to Temu's terminal distribution hub. Through the above combination, goods across half the world can usually reach consumers in about 2 weeks. In the field of cross-border logistics, a time limit of about 2 weeks is a pretty good balance. Faster than traditional sea transportation, but slightly more expensive, cheaper than pure air transportation, but slightly slower. The middle ground found by TEMU is exactly the waiting range that a large number of consumers can accept. However, this logistics network also faces challenges. The first is the pressure brought by the growing scale. When the average daily order volume increases from a few thousand to hundreds of thousands, TEMU needs to coordinate more flight space, customs clearance capabilities, and terminal delivery resources. Any jam in the logistics chain will lead to package delays or even loss. In fact, TEMU had many problems of package delays and loss in the early days of operation, which caused users to complain. This prompted TEMU to continuously improve its logistics solutions, such as cooperating with more airlines and customs clearance agents, adding temporary warehouses in the destination country, etc. Secondly, changes in regulatory policies in various countries will also affect logistics. For example, if the United States tightens its tax-free allowance policy, there are signs that the tax-free threshold may be lowered in the future. TEMU's logistics costs and customs clearance speed will be impacted, and other countermeasures will need to be considered, such as importing large quantities of goods in advance. Supply and production. Let's look at the supply side, that is, where the goods come from and how they are prepared. TEMU itself does not produce goods, it connects to a large number of Chinese suppliers. Some of these suppliers are directly involved in the factory, and some are traders and wholesalers. The huge supplier resources accumulated by Pinduoduo in China provide TEMU with a natural advantage. Many small factories that previously only did domestic sales or wholesale business can now directly reach overseas consumers through TEMU. For them, this is a new opportunity to expand their business. For TEMU, this means an almost unlimited pool of goods to be mined. China is known as the world factory and produces everything from socks, screws to electronic products. TEMU took full advantage of this and presented the image of a store of all goods. In terms of production methods, TEMU does not deeply intervene in the product design and manufacturing process like Shein, but adopts a model of platform management plus seller self-regulation. In other words, TEMU sets the rules of the game: price, delivery time, quality requirements, etc., and suppliers are responsible for meeting them. In order to supply goods in a timely manner, sellers usually need to prepare goods in TEMU's domestic warehouse in advance or ship them quickly after receiving orders. If a product is sold out, the factory may work overtime overnight to replenish the stock. Conversely, if the product is unsaleable, the platform will remove it from the shelves. This flexible supply and demand relationship is essentially a market-oriented production method. The factory will produce more of the product that is popular on TEMU. To some extent, this is similar to traditional foreign trade orders, but the pace is faster and the order volume is more fragmented. Suppliers can also understand market preferences from TEMU's platform data and adjust their product lines at any time. This agile production ecosystem is a new trend in cross-border e-commerce in the digital age. However, there are also concerns about the supply chain. Due to the mixed quality of goods on the platform, it is difficult for TEMU to strictly control the production process of each supplier, which brings quality and compliance risks. For example, not long ago, Korean and EU agencies conducted random inspections and found that some products sold on TEMU contained toxic chemicals that did not meet safety standards or had design defects. This shows that some suppliers have neglected quality control in pursuit of low costs, resulting in problematic products flowing overseas. Similarly, there are labor rights issues hidden in the supply chain. The outside world questions whether TEMU ensures that suppliers do not use forced labor, especially when it comes to raw materials such as cotton in Xinjiang. TEMU's attitude towards this seems to be relatively passive at present, relying more on suppliers' own commitments and third-party certification. But Western regulators are highly concerned about this. We will talk about this in the controversial section. In general, TEMU's supply chain is a network that crosses national borders. The front end connects thousands of producers in China, the back end connects countless consumers around the world, and the logistics in the middle support the transmission. This system makes people marvel at the efficiency of globalization. Placing an order on Temu is equivalent to remotely starting the operation of factories and logistics on the other side of the ocean to deliver a small commodity to you. Of course, there is no free lunch in the world. The efficient operation of the supply chain is based on precise coordination and compliance with regulations and laws. Once a link fails, Temu's user experience and reputation will be affected. How to strengthen supply chain management while expanding will be a topic that Temu must face for its continued development. Next, we will focus on some of the controversies and challenges caused by Temu, including the data, security, labor, and other issues mentioned just now. Controversy and challenges. Like anything that becomes popular overnight, Temu has also attracted a lot of doubts and controversies. As the number of users surges, the media and regulators have begun to look at Temu with a magnifying glass, with data security and product quality being the two most concerned issues. In addition, Temu also faces some policy and ethical challenges. Let's take a look at them one by one. Data and privacy security. Many American users are worried that Temu, an app from China, will collect privacy or even export data like TikTok. This concern is not groundless. In early 2023, Temu's sister app Pinduoduo was exposed to have malicious code in some of its Android versions and was even removed from Google Play. After the news came out, the United States immediately began to be wary of Temu. If Pinduoduo's team can implant vulnerabilities in its own app, who can guarantee that Temu's code is completely clean? A U.S.-China Economic and Security Commission of the U.S. Congress publicly named Temu as a potential risk to user data security. Government agencies in some states also acted quickly. For example, the governor of Montana has ordered Temu to be included in the banned list of government equipment, along with TikTok, WeChat, etc. at the same time. In 2023, users filed class action lawsuits against Temu in Illinois and New York, accusing it of collecting and abusing users' personal data without adequate notice. This series of events cast a shadow on Temu's data security. Temu officials denied any improper data collection, stressed compliance with privacy laws of various countries, and were willing to accept supervision. However, public doubts have not been completely dispelled. Especially in the current geopolitical environment, Chinese-based apps are almost naturally labeled as security risks, and Temu is no exception. In the future, Temu may need to take a more transparent and credible stance, such as inviting independent organizations to audit apps and publishing privacy compliance reports, to ease the concerns of the public and the government. Product quality and safety. Temu wins with ultra-low prices, but the other side of low prices is often uneven quality and even safety hazards. As Temu's sales soared, consumer protection agencies in various countries began to closely monitor whether the products it sells are legal and safe. A series of survey results made people sweat about the quality of products on the Temu platform. For example, the city of Seoul in South Korea sampled some products on Temu, Shein, and AliExpress in 2024, and found that the content of harmful substances in some clothing, shoes, and hats and toys seriously exceeded the standard, and toxic chemicals harmful to the human body were detected. The Korean regulatory authorities immediately required these platforms to immediately remove the relevant products and strengthen supervision of suppliers. Similarly, in Europe, an agency sampled toys sold on Temu and found that almost all samples did not meet safety standards, and most of them had serious risks such as suffocation and chemicals. These findings made consumers realize that there may be some dangerous products like time bombs hidden on the Temu platform. Temu's response is usually, "We are just a platform, and sellers need to be responsible for the products," and claim that once the problem products are found, they will be immediately removed from the shelves and cooperate with the investigation. However, just as offline markets are inevitably mixed with good and bad goods, a platform like Temu with a large number of SKUs is also difficult to prevent the mixing of bad goods. In areas with strict supervision, the European Union has launched an investigation into Temu under the Digital Services Act, DSA, questioning whether it has fulfilled its responsibility to investigate illegal and dangerous goods. If the results are not satisfactory, TEMU may face huge fines or even business restrictions. The controversy over product quality reminds us that shopping at super low prices may hide higher risks. If this is not resolved, it will erode users' trust in TEMU in the long run. Labor and supply chain ethics. In addition to the products themselves, TEMU's supply chain ethics have also been questioned. Since 2021, the United States has implemented the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act, requiring companies to ensure that there are no goods involving forced labor in Xinjiang in the supply chain. In 2023, a special committee of the U.S. Congress criticized TEMU for not even doing superficial work in this regard, saying that there is a high suspicion of forced labor in TEMU's supply chain. The report pointed out that TEMU made extensive use of duty-free parcel channels to evade the in-depth review of U.S. customs, which may allow forced labor products to take advantage of opportunities. This caused an uproar, and the attorneys general of more than 20 states in the United States jointly wrote to TEMU, asking